Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I'm Beth Coffey, an indie author with 3 books that I've self-published so far on Amazon. They are in Kindle Unlimited, and there's a link in my description always to my author page. This video is a recap of what I did for the Magical Readathon. The Magical Readathon is a challenge to read certain books based on certain prompts. They have a spring equinox semester and they have a autumn equinox semester, which was in September. So this was my first time doing it. So I'm gonna go through what I did, tell you a little bit about it. I will link below the book roast YouTube channel for G. Her name, I don't know her name. They call her G. I will link that down below and with the information. So if you would like to do it in the future, you can. I signed up, went through and got my class and created my character. This is all the test. I will put some pictures up so you can see. This is my student, Evangeline Frostblood. She got sorted into the guild, the Order of the Crescent, and her calling is to be an herbologist. She was born urban. The choice is urban or wildling. Her province was Dark Meadow. Her heritage is she is an elf. You have a choice of dwarf, earthling, elf, human, or Illyrian. The lunar phase at birth, I put blood moon. Her conduit is a staff. She has a raven familiar, and I earned a few things during the readathon that we'll get to. So the first book I started with was called The Secret Talker, and that was for Restoration Q, which is the highest grade in Restoration. And the prompt was randomly pick 5 countries and pick one and find an author from that country. So it was China is what I came up with. And it's The Secret Talker by Jiling Yan. And I'm going to just read what I wrote for my review because my memory's bad and I don't want to miss things I thought were important. I will put pictures up of the books. I probably have links to acquire the book. The Secret Talker, an interesting take on fidelity and marriage. I enjoyed how the story was developed and the fact that the ending surprised me. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I might seek out more from this author. I don't know. I have so many books in my Kindle that I don't want to be buying more books. This was one I've had for a few years and I just never read it. So that was my first book I read. And then I read the Guild book. The Guild picks a book. The book the Guild picked was A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. And this was my first time reading T. Kingfisher. And I gotta say, I really, really liked the book. So I will definitely be looking for more from T. Kingfisher. Let me see, page 25. There it is. So what I said, I checked this one out at the library. It was a big book. I really enjoyed this book. The characters were all written well, and the story flowed nicely. I would have liked to see Cordelia end up being a sorceress as well, and it felt that there could be a following book. So I may have to check the catalog and see if there is. So far, it doesn't seem like it's a series. It's a standalone. And it was based on the Goose Girl, which I'm not familiar with. So I will be looking for more books by T. Kingfisher in the future as I enjoyed their writing style. Again, 5 stars. Really enjoyed the book. So I'm going to, as I buy more books, I will be looking into more by T. Kingfisher. Then I read Elphie. The grade was 4. Let me get to that page. It was the ordinary in restoration. So, Elphie, A Wicked Childhood by Gregory and Maguire. Now, this is the guy who wrote the book Wicked that the Broadway play musical is based on, that then the movies that have just the Wicked movie is based on. Of course, all of it is loosely based on Wizard of Oz. This is the guy who wrote Wicked, and this is like a prequel to Wicked. I gave this one 3 stars. I bought this book at Costco before before I even knew I was doing the magical readathon. But really struggled to stay invested in this story. I had a big problem with the way the writer structured the actual story. It was very confusing and not real clear. So I did struggle with that. I'm debating on whether I want to invest the time to try reading the book by this author that the musical is based on, which in turn the Wicked movie is based on. But with how I feel about the writing style in this book, I don't know that I want to ruin my vibe that I currently have for Wicked. I loved Wicked, the one that just came out in 2024. Part 2 is coming out in October or November this year. By the end of the book, I did understand the style, and I did get some good out of it. That's why I did give it 3 stars. I don't know that I can push through to read more of this man's writing. I don't know. I definitely will wait until I've seen the next Wicked movie, because I don't want it to get in the way of my vibe of how much I love the Wicked movie. And I love Wizard of Oz, all things Wizard of Oz. Well, maybe not. Yeah, there were some things, but still, the Wizard of Oz. It's the great and powerful Oz. I love the whole universe. What's it called? I don't know that I'll read more by Gregory Maguire because I'm not a fan of his writing style. Is what it is. Okay, so the next book I read was The Deer and the Dragon. Now, I bought this book by Piper CJ. I bought this book 2 years ago in Alabama when I went for the summer. And it was a beautiful book. I have the physical book. It's a beautiful, it has blue edges. I should have brought it out here with me, but I'll put a picture of it so you can see. I gave this one 4 stars. Again, I had a hard time at the start of this book. I wasn't thrilled with the writer's style. It talks about sex work, escorting, which I don't have a problem with, and I think sex work is a valid career. I think it should be legal in more places. But anyway, I didn't like some of the things she said, but by the midpoint, I was sucked into the story. The story got good. The story was interesting. I did enjoy it. I loved all of the paranormal elements, and the connection to our mortal religions, because it touches on Christianity, it touches on the Fae, it touches on the devil and God, and I really did like how that was all wrapped up. I really did like that. I didn't realize that this one was a series. This was book 1. So the cliffhanger at the end kind of killed me. I expected it to be all wrapped up, and it's like, no, it stopped right in the middle of the event. So now I have to read book 2. I will be getting the rest of the series in the future. I will probably buy physical copies to match the one I have if I am able to do so. The Deer and the Dragon was a Q in alchemy. Q is quality, I believe. It's the high. They have ordinary, qualified, and distinguished. D is the highest, and I didn't have any that had to be the D prompt. Mine were just Q and O. O and Q. I will link all this down below. It's complicated, but I loved it. Pushed me to read. I read 5 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 books in a month, which is quite a few for me. I don't usually read 5 in a month. The last book I read was Devour the Sun, which was my ordinary in alchemy. I gave it 3 stars. It was a Kindle book that I probably got free years ago. I didn't pay for it. Most of my Kindle books, the thousands that I have been free. I do the Stuff Your Kindle days. I don't anymore because I'm trying to get through what I have and not add any more. So I'm probably missing out on some great books. No, I'm not. I have enough books. I know. If I don't have a book, I can check it out from my library. So no, I'm not stuffing my Kindle anymore. My Kindle is also dying, so I read it on my iPad through the Kindle app. So anyway, sidetrack. Devour the Sun. The story was interesting, but I didn't really feel a connection to the main characters. I felt they didn't have a lot of believability. The story was not engaging to me, and I struggled really bad through the second half of the book. It was about vampires, and if y'all know me, you know I love vampires. I didn't think the vampires were what I thought they should be. There was also shifters, and they all were with humans, and it was no. So this book wasn't for me. Somebody might love it. I'm sure some people do. Was not for me. Not my style of reading. With that being said, I completed my course for the autumn equinox, my courses for the autumn equinox of the Magical Readathon. I need to go back and do the spring equinox that they did in April because you have to pass both semesters to move on to the next level of grade. Because this is my novice year because it's my first year. I ended up with like 180. No, I ended up with 232 points that you get to spend on scrolls and things for your pets and things for your implings. I adopted an impling. I got the vamp impling. He's so cute. And I also adopted a pet. I got the Dark Meadow Storm Cat. His magic is wind and thunder. His diet is fish and very small and slow demons. So I have to keep my impling away from my cat. Yeah. I also got a pet patch pack from watching one of her live streams, G's live streams. And so yeah, I've got to build places for my cat and my impling and all that. Now, I'm also going to go back. This was my admission path, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to fill in and read books that fit for these categories as well. You don't have to, but I want to. I want to have all the categories filled out. So that will be what I do for the rest of the year. My books, I'll make books fit in each little spot. They also are doing Adventure in Aldea. Yeah. And each month is a book. There's a prompt and you read a book. So I will probably start October. There's words there. I don't know. I have to go look and see how it works. I might have to start in January and then just try and catch up before they post the next one for next year, if they have one for next year. But yeah, so that's my magical readathon wrap up. Like I said, I read 5 books in the month of September, which is not my normal. Let's see, what have I read? Let's see, in January I read 2, February I read 2, March I read 2. So see, I read 2 books. April I read 2.5. May I read 4. So I did read 4 in April. No, May, excuse me. May I read 4. June I read nothing. Absolutely nothing. And July I read 3. No, I read 2. I started 3. I had to pause Iron Flame. August I only read one because I had a lot of illness going on. Even though I was on vacation, I didn't end up reading. So, yeah, those are all the books I've read this year. So far, I've read a lot more books this year than I usually do. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20. I've read 20 books. Yeah, 20 books. I think last year I read 12, and I think I wanted to read 25 and 25. So I've got a few months to read 5 more books. I think I got it. So there you have my wrap up of the magical readathon, the autumn equinox semester. And I hope you enjoyed this. And maybe next semester, y'all will join in with me and we'll study together. Bye.